So we have our chase working pretty good. The next thing we want to do is make this a little more designer side. So let's take these hard-coded values and let's set these up as a variable at the top. So if we go back up to the top and we look for something, we don't really have one set up for it. So let's go ahead and put one in there. We're just going to drop in a variable. We'll call this one, how about our change direction distance. A big word, but it does say exactly what it is going to do. This is just going to be a float variable. And as a float, let's just set this one to 1.0 to get us started here. This is just going to be setting up for the distance to move past our target. And we'll take this change direction distance and we'll feed this one down here on our function for our chase player. So let's take our 2 and replace it, and our 2 and replace it. And this way we have a variable set up on the outside inside of our inspector. We'll come back over here and take a peek at it. And we've got our change direction distance right in here. So let's go ahead and run it. Let's make sure it still functions like it's supposed to. We jump, and he turns. Now if we want less distance, then we simply need to take this one down. Let's say we took it to a 0.5. We'll go half that distance. There we go. So his reaction time as a Goomba is just a little bit quicker. Alright, so we've got him chasing our player based on our distance. Now what we want to do is add to this a little bit more. We want to go back up to our update function, and we're checking for a search distance for a search range based on the distance. Let's go ahead and check for something else in here. We're going to have him chasing the player, but let's say while he's chasing the player, what if our Goomba gets a little bit closer to this player? Maybe we can increase the speed of it just to increase the intensity a little bit. So when our Goomba gets within some sort of attack range in here, we'll increase his move speed so that he actually chases the player a little bit quicker to just increase the fun and the intensity of that moment. So we'll go in and we'll say, well, if our distance to our target, because this is something we're already getting, we know what that distance is. So the distance to the target, if that distance to the target is less than or equal to, this is going to be our attack range right here. So we've done our search range. So if it's less than or equal to our attack range, then what do we want to do? Well, we want to increase the speed. So let's say we have our move speed. And what do we want to make that equal to? Well, let's make that equal to our attack move speed. Let's make sure we put an equal sign in there. So we've got our move speed equals our attack move speed. That way we can dial that in there. It's going to make him go just a little bit faster running across. And if it's not less than the attack range, then what do we want to do? Well, we want to make sure we're resetting our move speed and just chasing the player. So we'll do else. This will be our move speed. And what does our move speed equal? Well, our move speed is going to be equaling our reset move speed right up here. That way we are able to set it back to its original speed. And we also want him to be chasing the player, so let's run our chase player function. Alright. Now, do we need our chase player function inside of our target if it's within the attack range? Absolutely, because if we don't have it in there and we end up changing its position at some point, then that chase player needs to be in there. Otherwise, he won't chase the player. And in fact, just for the fun of it, we're going to drop our chase player above for the consistency here. There we go. Alright. We'll save that one out. And we'll go on up here. Now, the thing that becomes a little bit difficult, we're setting some ranges, but it's hard to actually see a range on here. So if we hit play, we know we have a range of attack range of 1. So if he gets a little bit closer, there we go, he's sped up. But it's hard to actually see that, visually see that range that's inside of here. So what we can actually do to make this a little bit easier on us is to add some on-draw gizmo function. This way we can actually find out where is that range visually inside of the inspector. So what we want to do is just end this function. We're going to be calling up our gizmo. So let's do our gizmos dot. And what are we going to do with this? We're going to be drawing, our best bet is just a sphere, just a wire sphere. So let's do a draw our wire sphere. And what kind of information do we need inside of this function? We're going to be needing our transform position and then the actual range. So where are we going to draw the sphere, and what is the range, the radius of this sphere? So let's say this is going to be our current position, so our transform dot position, and we want to do this with a radius of our attack range. Alright, and we'll just drop that right in there. Just for the fun of it, let's just hit save and see what happens. We'll come back over, and there we go. Look at that. We've got a radius going around our Goomba. It's based on the attack range, so what happens if I increase this? It's going to increase the size of the radius of the circle. So this way we're getting some debugging information, some designer information inside of here that it's usually a little hard to tell just on a number. This way we have those visual cues for us. Now we also want to tie this back into also our search range. So let's go in, and we're basically using the same function, the draw sphere, except this time instead of the attack range, let's do this for the search range. There we go. And let's save that one out. Come back over to the inspector. Once it updates, there we go. So we've got our search range, and we've got our attack range. Now, the next thing we could do is separate the color out a little bit, because right now it's hard to tell really which color is which. So let's go back in and set some colors. And how do we set color? Well, we have our color option right in here. And our color is going to equal color dot, we'll keep it simple for right now. We'll just do color dot red. And in between here, we'll do our gizmo dot color equals, and what would we want this one to be? Let's say color dot blue. Okay, so this gives us a chance to set both of those up. We'll hit save on that, come back over, we can see it update over here. There we go. So we've got our search radius and we've got our attack range right in here. If we turn on the gizmo inside of the game window, we can see that we also see those inside of here. Now, we do need to make sure that we're setting those to which view, so it's drawing it in the right camera. But for right now, this works just fine inside of our scene view. Alright, now let's go ahead and play with these a little bit and make sure that it works the way it's supposed to for the speed. Does it right when it hit that red, it sped up. When he leaves that red, he slows down. There we go. Slowly but surely, we're just building all kinds of fun logic to this character and getting some nice design side visuals to help us see when he hits that attack range, when he leaves that attack range. So let's find out if we've got the right balance for this. Okay. So that is going to tie us off for our chase player at the moment. And the next one we're going to start looking at is the go home function right in here. We'll do that next.